Okay, it would seem as if though my alternate Thomas basis video is doing extremely well. And I've gained some more followers, 200 in fact. I think I should make the next one. Now, who should I do it with?
Is it me?
No, Sam, fuck off. You already had your turn.
Hey.
Okay. What the fuck? Said Edward.
Hello everyone, I'm back yet again with another alternative basis video. I've gotten so many wonderful comments on my last video about this topic that I've decided to do it once again. This time I'm going to try and focus on Edward and try and find some different bases for him. Now before anyone asks what's wrong with the K2 for Edward, I actually don't find anything wrong with it. In fact, I like the K2 for Edward. However, I find that there are more similar engines that look like Edward than a K2. Just like Thomas, I will be having some key factors for Edward, so if these candidates were the true Edward, it wouldn't interfere with RWS or TVS lore. So my good friend Mixed Traffic Engine 206, or Matt, will be explaining everything because he loves this bastard to dear death. Take it away, Cox.
Alright, fuck you. So here's how it'll work. 1. Like Thomas, there will be no extra details on him, like outside cylinders, steam pipes, different firebox, etc. Fuck you, Hornby Edward! 2. Edward was built in 1896, so we'll have to say as long as Edward was built between 1890 to 1902, it'll be okay as he will be older and wiser than Gordon and Thomas. 3. Fowler tenders do not have to be present in this case, as we can say when Edward was bought, he was transferred to the Northwestern and he got a new tender there.
Right, with those in place, let's find us a new Edward basis.
The first engine on the list is the NBER Class M, later known as the LNER D31. These were first built in 1890 to 1895 and about 48 were built. Then they had rebuilds in 1918 to 1922 and were built by the North British Railway at the Callers Works. If we really want to be technical, about 60 were produced in total, including the D27 and D28 classes.
They ran express trains as that what was trains during the late 19th century. Suddenly they were all withdrawn in 1931 and all were scrapped, even the D27 and D28. I actually prefer the D31 class over the D27 and D28.
Same here. The D27 and D28s just have a weird smokebox shape, unless it wouldn't work well with Edward because he had a Belpaire styled firebox in the Railway series.
Aside from the extra details in the footplate above the driving wheels, this looks like Edward. Next up on the list is the LSWR T9 class.
In 1912, when designer Drummond passed away, his successor Robert Urey upgraded the class with superheaters, as well as removing the crosswater tubes they were built with and enlarged the smokebox. They got stovepipe chimneys installed, and lastly he increased the cylinder bore to 19 inches. They were ready for service in 1929.
They had a nickname, Greyhounds, and the reason was because they had a good turn of speed because these locomotives were capable of LSWR express trains.
Now these guys were built in 1899 to 1901 and 66 were built in total.
The time has come. Execute Order 66.
They all made their way down the line till the end of steam. They were all withdrawn from service and scrapped between 1951 to 63, and all were scrapped except for one. Number 120 was preserved by the National Railway Museum in 1961, but was overhauled again in the 1980s and ran well again. In 1993, it moved to the Bluebell Railway where it was at an exhibit and display until 2008. It had its third move to the Bottom and Wenford Railway, and returned to steam in 2010. It had a cylinder block and was repaired. And in the time zone between 2015 to 2020, it was moved from the Swang Railway to the Bottom and Wenford Railway working passenger trains. Eventually, the boiler certified expired in September 2020. The engine is now in store waiting repairs for the boiler with a view of the possibility to return to steam. Our final candidate is the SCER D class.
Oh god, here it is.
Aside from that, this engine has a very Edward look. It's small, has the correct Edward features like the boiler not touching the footplate, and it looks pretty good in my eyes at least.
51 of these engines were built in 1901 to 1907 and made by the Ashford Works, Dubs & Co., Sharp, Stewart & Co., Robertson Stephen & Co., and Vulcan Foundry.
21 of these engines were rebuilt in the D1 class from 1921 to 25. Unfortunately, there isn't much more information on these guys as they've been scrapped from 1944 to 61. And all but one lives. Number 31737 was preserved by the National Railway Museum in New York, where it sits on display to this day.
If you have any more information on an alternate class for Edward, just contact Joe because he has way too much free time.
Alright, you know what? Fuck you, Matt. You got some privileges to play as Luigi now. Like in the Thomas video, it really is up to you to decide on what Edward's class could be. I personally believe he's the SCER D class.
In all honesty, I don't really mind any of these classes for an Edward basis, but the D class just looks the part for me. I think it has that similar look to the K2, and it's just a real beaut. It's a really nice engine.
Edward the Blue engine may be a K2 in the canon, but hopefully these new engines could open a new eye for people for having a headcanon on what Edward could alternatively be. Anyways, I just want to say thank you, Matt, for joining me today. I'll see you guys in the next one.
Wait, did we plan for the next video? You never tell me this shit, you dumbass.
Actually, I won't need to do a video on Gordon, Percy, and Toby, as Gordon and Toby are accurate to their basis, and Percy I'm not gonna do because Train Boy already did one.
What's your point? There's still plenty of engines on the list. We could Wait, what about James?